Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Holistic Man, Ordinary Men, Extraordinary Guests. Today's guest is a man who's found a powerful way to merge faith, purpose, and passion through the game of football. He is an educator and a coach whose life is rooted in his faith as a believer and follower of Jesus Christ. He's a proud graduate of Winston-Salem State University with a degree in sports management. He uses his platform in education and athletics as a ministry, reaching, mentoring, and guiding young men through the challenges of life. For him, football is more than a game. It's a tool for transformation, a classroom for character, and a calling to build men who carry integrity far beyond the final whistle. In his own words, he's just a vessel doing the Lord's work, one player and one life at a time. So y'all, this brother, this man of God, I've known for almost over a decade. He's one of my closest friends, one of my closest brothers. So it's an honor to welcome him to the podcast. Come on, put your hands together for Tirrell McIver. What's up, bro? What's up, bro?
What's up, man?
How's it going? Doing well. How are you, sir?
I'm great, baby. I'm great.
Man, it's glad to have you on the pod this evening.
Privilege and honors all mine, bro. When you told me you was going ahead and hey, man, I'm going to start doing a podcast, I was all on board for it. I was like, man, I can't wait to just peel the onion layers back and get to it.
Yeah, man. Listen, you was at the very beginning when I was just kind of thinking through, those thoughts. I was like, yeah, like I told you, I was like, yeah, man, I'm doing a podcast, the Holistic Man. We're going to see what the Lord going to do and see what happens. So, of course, you're one of the men that, of course, have a powerful testimony, have a powerful story, just to share, who you are with the world, with men, with other people. And like I said, you've always been a pillar of wisdom, of strength, that iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely. Yeah, man, we know this life get tough, but like I said, we got to keep pressing on. And like I said, what I do for a living, you don't have many days to sit there and count the bad days. You always count the blessings that you have in front of you. So
yeah, 100%. And listen, y'all, me and Tirrell, we go way back. Was it 2012, 2011?
Yeah, that's when we first the bond started happening. I met you in 2009 when I was a freshman. I was like, man, who was this smooth guy in the bow ties? Here I am, in my little sweats and, do-rag when I had hair, earrings and, Liberty University having a dress code. I was like, man, who is this guy? I was like, man, something about it, man, he got some swag. I said, man, I gotta get tap in. And then, like I said, in 2012, man, when I came back that second time, we really kind of hit it off.
Yeah, man, listen.
Uphill since.
Whew, yeah, it has been. Like, that's crazy. He said 2009. Lord, that just took me back. The Cube.
Not the Cube.
in the computer lab. At the computer lab at Liberty University, there was a cube that a certain bunch of people used to hang out. He used to hang out there. And that was like when I first started working at LU, and then I would just come and kind of chill with them after work, things of that nature. But that's where it started. And then, like I said, it's always been up from here. We've been in each other's lives. We've just really been there to encourage one another, motivate one another, pray with one another through the good, bad, the uglies. You don't find too many brothers like that. And when you do, you hold on to them no matter what happens. And like I said, I think we talk and text literally every day almost.
Yeah, man.
And
for sure.
And then I know there's some times we have some space in there, but every now we pick it up like we never left. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
So like I said, I'm grateful for you. I don't know where I'd be, without having you, in my life, in that way, and always praying, and always encouraging me, because I'd be crashing out sometimes.
We all do. Like, man, what I would do, but brothers in Christ, brother.
Yeah, iron sharpens iron. So yeah, man. So let's dive into this thing. Thank you, like I said, once again for being here. So let's just start, man. Like, I just want to start, talking a little bit about your life. Just kind of like those early, moments. And so the first question I just want to ask you, and we'll, keep going, through here. What is a defining moment from your childhood or early life that shaped the man you are today?
God, that's a good one. I would say I can't remember the exact day, but I do remember I was in middle school
Mm-hmm.
and I was in the seventh grade and finding out my father's sickness.
Mm.
My father has osteoporosis and the spinal cord disease, and trying to figure out what's going on with pops,
Mm-hmm.
and not really knowing because you were a kid growing up. We always had, it might not seem like we did, but as kids we didn't know it, and so we just continued to live that childhood life. And then as I got older, as I said, got to seventh grade, I was like, oh, so pops is battling you know a illness that's like very, very serious, and causes him not to be able to, turn fully, and not trying to figure out why my dad doesn't have a regular 9 to 5
Mm.
like other people. And it was just like, oh man, so that's why pops went in the yard playing with me and things like that when I was growing up.
Mm.
But that just lit a fire underneath me that was like, man, you ain't got no excuses. Here, this man had everything stripped from him, pretty much, the male manhood of working and providing for the family, which he still did. But yeah, I would say that, man, just looking back on it, and football in general, just a game, played out pretty much for 12 years.
Wow.
And it's just like, man, this is more to life than that. But, the battles that you have on the field help prepare you for life in general. But yeah, definitely seventh grade, like I said, figuring out my pop's illness down to a T and understanding, what he had. So yeah.
Wow. No, I could definitely understand that, kind of finding it out. That's kind of, a shocker, to you. And so finding, like you said, finding that out, that was a moment that defined you. But then, how did you rise to that challenge and that level, knowing that your pops had this, what did it spark in you, to continue on and to grow and to mature, and just to kind of change that mindset that you had from like, oh, my dad, as a kid, you're like, I want my dad to do X, Y, Z, and then finding out he can't. So what was that mindset shift? That mindset shift for you? What was that like?
It was like, man, I can do anything. I'm blood of his blood, and I always tell my kids this: is that, man, you playing for your last name. When you go to school, you represent yourselves. It's not about the first name; it's about the last name.
Mm.
And through those tough times and those tough days, it's just like, how am I gonna get through? And pretty much through middle school and high school, man, before my faith really, really got strong and took off, it was like, man, what would pops do? It was just like, I got to continue to go. And regardless of what I'm going through, like, if he can do it, I can do it. He has a disability, and here I am, complaining about maybe X, Y, and Z. But it was just like, you know what, man, as long as you got, oxygen in your lungs, you can do anything you want to do. But, understand that it's going to come some hurdles, but, you can't let that define you and shape you. But, yeah, I would say that.
Okay, yeah, no, that's dope. To know that you was like, listen, if my pops could do it, I can do it too. Yeah. And every young boy, looks up to his dad in that way, to be able to, see him almost as a hero, a Superman, even though he's not super, and you can kind of see their flaws, you can see their weaknesses, but at the same time, to you, because he's pushing through those weaknesses, that makes him even more super to you. And that's that motivation for you to continue to fight, to continue to plow, to continue to grow, and continue to tackle any challenge that comes your way. I think that's amazing. And then I think most of, the men today need to know that, like, whatever you may be facing, you can, once you put your mind to it, you can overcome it and you can do it. And so as you're talking about, saying the early years of, your dad finding that out, what were some of the values and some of the things that he modeled for you as he was dealing with that disability, but still at the same time, still being a dad, still providing, still protecting? What were some of those early on things that you saw him doing, even in the midst of that you kind of took and added to your repertoire to help you become the man that you are today?
Man, first of all, leadership. Here's man has a family to provide for, and then just hard work. And going to get it even when you don't feel like it. Integrity. Telling somebody you're going to do something, be a man of your word. Those type of things from a young age really, really stuck out. I was like, man, everyone always calls pops. Everybody from the church. From working on cars, it was just like Jerry this, Jerry that, and I was like, dang, man, pops like that. You know, so I was like, man, I gotta step up. I gotta walk into, my leadership role and not worry about what other people think. Is make sure I'm doing the right thing and just leading by example. But yeah, man, hard work, integrity, accountability, responsibility, respect for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, just all those things that I think sometimes, man, that you look at today that the world's missing. Obviously, it's heartbreaking, but because I hurt, I'm just like, man, I was fortunate enough to have both parents in the household, right? And you see dad, leading, and sometimes we get anger or rage. We don't hear the message; we hear the tone.
That's good.
And so sometimes I just still recall, him, maybe mom and dad, might have a disagreement, or I might have did something. I'm just like, oh man, like he's really, really getting on to me. But it was like, he was always like, son, it's the message. You always want to make sure that you're listening to the message and not how I'm saying it. Because, I mean, all of us, we're emotional and sometimes you got to cool off. But those core foundational principles, got me where I am today.
Yeah, no, that's good. You said that. Listen to the message, not the tone. Because sometimes that tone, boy, that tone will hurt you, wreck you, man. And the thing that I always remember, even with my old dad, he was always stern, and he never, from my experience, there was only one time I seen his tone go up to a certain point because I had totally did something that made him furious. Like I literally saw him roar like Mufasa, bro. Like I was scared for my life.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, that message behind why he was that way, I understood why he was upset. I understood why he was speaking and sharing those words with me. And then, sometimes after a certain age, I don't know about you, but I used to get beat with a belt. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't much words coming out. It was mostly like mom saying something to him and he'd be like, go to your room. And then you just know, like, I surrender, sir. And then, Big Bertha, I called her. Big old cow.
Not Bertha. Big Bertha.
Yeah, big old thick cowhide belt about this thick.
Oh,
just hanging on the wall.
The Alabama treatment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we get, it was for us. It was get the strap. Go get old leather. Yeah. I would say leather. We got to switch a little bit, but yeah, it was more leather.
Yeah,
old black leather.
And he always used to tell me, he never wanted to give us a whooping in anger. So like he always cooled down. Like I remember I used to sit in my room for like 32 minutes to an hour just waiting. Like I'm in the lobby of Fortnite trying to log in. Like what's going on? And then I found out later it's because he wanted to calm down. He never wanted to do it out of anger or emotion, and so because he wanted to make sure that like this again, you're never gonna do this again.
Yeah. See, that's the beauty of that. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't as fortunate as that. It was when I did something, it was like it was on site. It was I'm tearing your behind up. I'm angry. I'm mad. I'm crying. It is what it is. I'll be honest. Mom never whooped me. Like, no. It was always dad.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
Jerry, come get your boys. And it was my brother always saying, he did it, which majority of the time I did. But like I said, it was it was no calming down. It was like, I'm gonna get you then, But I feel like both ways can work. But I like what your pops did. That's credit to, senior.
Yeah.
That was that's beautiful. Yeah. Cause I mean, yeah, I think that's what I would adopt. I think, like I said, fortunate to have kids. I feel like that would be the way. Because I'm even like that as a coach. It's like when he does something wrong, I'm like, oh my God, I'm raging, I'm fuming. But I pull him to the side. I'm like, look, we gotta be better than that.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a repeated offense. It's like, come on, man. I'm tired of same song, different verse. But absolutely, definitely need to let the emotions calm down. Like they tell us coaches, after we play a game, it's like, hey man, let it sit, wake up in the morning, and then deal with it. Because if not, you might say something.
Right.
catches in the heat of the moment, so you don't want to do anything in the heat of the moment. So
Right,
yeah,
right. No, yeah, definitely. No, I like that how you even put that, on the coaching field to the young men that are playing the game of football. So even with that, so tell me how did you develop a passion for coaching? But then let's see, before we even go to that, like where did your passion for the game of football come from?
man, I'm looking at my football right now, man. Started in 1998. Never forget, I was sitting there, chunky kid, man, wearing the Husky jeans. Couldn't wear the slims, couldn't wear the regulars. And I think still to this day, this is why I don't wear jeans, because I didn't like the way they fit around my thigh, but that's for another story. But I just remember my mom and dad asking, they was like, you want to play football? And I was like, I don't know what that is, but sure. They was like, you want to play flag or you want to play tackle with your uncle, my great uncle,
Okay.
my daddy's mom's brother. I was like, yeah, let's play tackle with Uncle Larry. So it started in '98, man, and I started ever since then and played all the way up to 2009. And unfortunately, was like I said, wasn't able to play in college, but I was just struggling, man. I remember it like yesterday. It was 2009. I was sitting in that dorm room at the Circle at LU, and I was just like, man, I don't know what I can do.
Mm.
I don't know what's next. And I reached out to my coach in high school, Mike Short. Shout out to Michael Short, my guy from Florida. And I was like, Coach, man, I think I want to get into coaching, man. I'll try it out. He was like, hey, it's a great field, man. If you really, just try it and see. And I spent that first year at Liberty, '09 to 10, and I wasn't able to go back in 10 and 11. And then I reached out to my uncle. Well, my uncle reached out to me. He said, hey, man, I heard, you're not going back to school this semester. He was like, you ever thought about coaching? I was like, Unc, that's funny, man, because I just changed my major to sports management. He was like, okay, well, just come out and give it a try. He gave me my first try in 2010, 2011. I started off as a DB coach at the middle school that I'm currently coaching for now again.
Okay.
And, man, I fell in love with it, man, made some great memories. And I'm just like, I said, God, I think this is it, because I was just struggling, bro. Like it's so hard. You hear about the stories today as professional athletes have a hard time of turning it off, or they go through all these things, depression, and just like, man, what is next? And so I've been there. I tell guys all the time, the kids now, I said, guys, look, the game's going to end regardless. It's going to end in high school, it's going to end in college, or it's going to end when you get to the professional level. But what can you draw back to? What can you say, this is my purpose, I can shift to something else? Football is what I do. I love it, but it's not who I am, right? And so you're trying to find your identity. And it was just like, God was just like, son, this is what I want. I want you to go out, and I want you to mentor to these babies. I want you to show them what a strong black male looks like in this world. You have a voice, you can lead, and don't be afraid to walk into your purpose. And you can show them that, being an athlete isn't the only way you can make it, a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor, a coach, anything. And like I said, man, in 2010, when that light went off, I was like, bro, I'm really like loving this. And then I wasn't able to go back to school again when I thought I was getting ready to go back for my sophomore year. And so then I coached again from 11 to 12. And that was my first time being a defensive coordinator, calling plays. And I was just like, man, this is going to be tough. And so, that was just an eye-opening experience in itself. But, being able to be able to actually lead and, here it is, your great uncle that you played for, it was at that time, 13, 14 years ago. And now you get to coach alongside him, and you bring the school's first undefeated season in 2013. I'm just like, oh, man, I'm feeling myself, man. I was like, because I had went back to Liberty for that sophomore year, that 2012, 2013. And then I went back and, like I said, took time off again and started back coaching. And like I said, after that, it was 3 years in a row. I ended up going to the high school. I was coaching DBs. And like I said, fell in love with it, man. I was like, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be at. Never thought I'd be a teacher, though.
Okay.
But I just knew coaching and teaching goes hand in hand. You still teach. You still got to find a way to keep the kids engaged. And so it was all uphill. I was like, yeah, this is my purpose. This is my path. So.
Wow, no, that's dope, to hear how, you had that opportunity kind of at the crossroads, and then, an opportunity. You were done with one season of doing something and then able to kind of transition to the next because you had been doing it for so long. So you had the knowledge, you had the experience, and now it's time to translate that into just, as a coach, as a leader, to help other young men kind of grow and develop into their passion as you had once had. And so even as have stepped into that, you're now a coach. I know you're a teacher. We'll deal with that in a second, but I still want to kind of talk about, just the coaching aspect of, you talked about, that purpose, and it seems like God kind of revealed, that calling to you by you just kind of seeking him, kind of being postured and positioned in that. But in what ways do you think that you use football as a ministry tool to reach, to mentor and guide young men? Like, what are some of the things that you see that as a ministry that you help kind of just reach, mentor, and just kind of guide young men as they're in the field, in the game of football?
Just adversity, man. I think that a lot of times us as coaches, for fans, players, we get so caught up in the W's, right? And it's like, man, we want to win every game. I play to win, and I tell people, I said, man, I think I hate losing more than I love winning. And that's a crazy statement, but it's that kind of passion that you need for life that you must have, that understand that, hey, look, man, bad days are going to happen. Bad things are going to happen, but you can't allow that to define you. You stack it. Right. We always tell the players, the little things matter. You got to do the little things well. So when you get to the big things, it's easy.
Right.
And so just the foundational principles of, coaching in life in general. Some of these kids, man, they don't have a stable household. Right. They don't have somebody they can look up to. And that's always what I drew back to. I was like, man, it's not trying to be funny, but outside of my dad growing up and my Uncle Larry, and my uncles, it was like in the school system and, coaching when I got to middle school, it was like, you ain't see no brothers. Let's just call it what it is.
No, that's true.
Right. And so we always, it was like, hey, man, you can't think, you have so much anger and rage. And I'm just like, no, let's kind of, let's kill that stereotype, because I don't believe that's true. But just the adversity that you get hit with in life, I think for me, football, like I said, it just breeded a different kind of toughness, man. And so going to a new high school, first open, just raw, no football field, no coaches, and us practicing at my old middle school with grass up to your knees, you know what I'm saying? And not having a 12th grade squad or a 12th grade class in 05 when the school first opened. We were pretty much, I tell people all the time, we were the test subjects. We were the dummies, like just straight up, because, it was just 9th grade through 11th grade. We had some 11th graders who were at the other school. They were playing varsity, and they had to come back and play JV. So, it was just all these type of things we had to deal with growing up. And I'm just like, man, I can just build up all of that. First day of practice, we're picking up glass and tree trunks and bricks because they had built the school on the old farmland. So, it was just all these things. I'm just like, man, and to see now the school where it's at, I'm just like, the guys I've coached, I was like, man, I remember being on this field. Let me tell you how good you got it. Let me tell you, something nobody ever told me, not having that relationship with the coach, and just all the things that can hit you as a teenager. You're going through it, you're tired of your parents. I want to hear from somebody else. And so having the ability to hear from a coach, just helped out so much because I seen the growth. I seen the light switch come on for the kid. I was like, you got it. And so now I'm out here seeing my babies that I coach. I'm like, man, going to Duke, going to Notre Dame, going all these big time colleges or even small schools, and like right now, teaching or coaching with one of the players I coach, it's just like, that's God right there. It's nothing but, it's just like all comes full circle.
Yeah.
So
the
relationships.
Yeah. So this sounds like he put the right people in the right place for you. One, to get you there, but at the same time, he allows you to even be connected to the right young men that need what you have, and the ones that need what you have because they listen, they're kind of attentive. Yeah. And then of course some of them are knuckleheads. You gotta kind of be a little, stricter with those, but then that they're listening, they're respecting you and what you're pouring into them, on a weekly basis. And, the one thing that I even, because it's funny because my dad was a football player as well. And, he coached high school for a little bit, and I'll never forget one time, he allowed me to ride the bus after a loss. and I remember like it was dead silent, and I was like, and I tried to say something. He was just like, I was like,
no talking, brother.
None
at all.
I was like,
yeah.
I was like, my bad, what I'm saying? Because like I never played football, what I'm saying? So I didn't know what the the do's and don'ts were after a loss. But he was there to guide. He was speaking to those young men after they got off the bus, and I just got to see him in that element, really coach them. But then also, many of them said that he taught them about life, through the game of football, and I think that is just the most key thing and most beautiful thing about sports, about football. You get to teach men how to, rely on one another, the game of life that they can take from just play, between the lines, but then they take it outside between the lines and continue to build on, those characteristics, those qualities, those lessons to be better at what God has called them to be.
Yep, absolutely, man. It's always that, man, because when you coaching at the high school level, man, you see. And I was fortunate enough to be in the building with the kids so they would see my face every day. And so I start off as a TA and, just like, hey, man, you doing all right in class? Your teacher telling me, you acting up or something like that at home. It was just being able to reach them where they were at, and I always, it's sad to talk about or think about it. I'm just like, man, I just remember, going to some of my kids' funeral, man. It was just like, I got to keep doing this. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm not going to reach all of them, but as long as I can get one, two, you're doing your job. You're not going to reach everybody. Yeah. And I had a hard time of trying to dissect that because, like I said, I just felt, I know I had a big heart and it was just like, man, I want to see everybody win. And that's the things that we tell them. I was like, man, you're not going to always win. Sometimes you're going to lose. And, how you're going to bounce back from it, how you're going to respond. And so, we just try to use those real life stories, man. We try to peel that onion back and, you're going to cry. But like I said, as long as they keep hearing it, they got to keep hearing it, especially in today's age. They got so much stuff, man, like I said, with the phones, laptops, and access to everything. So it's good for them to hear it from someone else besides the parents.
Yeah, no, that's good. Like you said, they have access to so much stuff, bro. Like I remember us being in high school, shoot, even college, like we didn't have access to this much stuff. Like we shouldn't have access to this much stuff. That's why our this generation's attention span is so small. I mean, ours was already getting cut short with all the things we were dealing with, but now it's even shorter. That focus. I don't know how they're able to even function or process anything because everything's moving at such a quick pace and it's right there at the palm of their hand and they never shut off. They never get a chance to really deal with reality sometimes because they're on social media, they're watching YouTube, they're on apps, whatever it may be, they're on the news, playing games, whatever it may be, and that takes away from some of the things that they could be working on to better, themselves. And so like I give it, up to, our coaches and our teachers in this generation. And especially a lot of times when they're not on y'all side. They are not on y'all side at all. Listen, my parents were teachers for 40 plus years and the horror stories that they tell me, the stories you done told me about stuff that go down in the school system is crazy, bro.
It's bad, man. Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because y'all are the most important and pivotal people in this next generation. And we expect y'all to be everything. We expect y'all to be teacher, parent, grandmama, uncle, auntie, lawyer, pastor, counselor.
Man, listen.
Corrections officer, judge, jury, and executioner. You know what I'm saying?
Be tired, man. I'll be like, what them 3 weeks at, brother? I need my intercession. Like, I'll see your kid more than you do. Like, I'm sick and tired. I teach over 540 kids a day, and then I got to go coach football. Man, listen. And they keep saying, we ain't going to have kids. I got 500 plus. I'm good. Please believe me. Lord willing, if he say, hey, there's time, it's time. But I got over 540 plus babies. I am more than good. I'm more than satisfied right now.
Golly, 500 though?
Yeah, bro. See him 540 a week. A week.
Jesus, bro. Listen, God bless you. Listen, I know that. Whew, 500. Like I don't. And y'all, this is K-12. This ain't high school. This ain't this is K through 12.
Yeah.
And so like he got the babies. You know what I'm saying? He elementary, so he not
There you
dealing
go.
with the adults in the
Yeah, I don't get the old age.
you know, you got the youngins. Well, you know, so
The,
more strength to you. As I heard somebody say, may God be with you.
yeah.
In
Have a
that
smile on you.
in that endeavor, because I couldn't. I refuse. I refuse. Like I did with higher
One day.
education. No, not one
Yeah.
day. No, not one day. Higher education. I'm never going back. If anything, I'm going forward. I'm going up.
I know, I feel you. I'm trying to get on that train too. I was like, man, some days I miss high school, but I was like, man, I still that dealing with it. I don't miss it, but I'm just like, because I love the innocence of the kids, man.
Yeah.
They're just so, they're a sponge. They're just open, man. They just want to have fun. They're just looking forward to seeing you every day, especially when the PE teacher is just like, hey, coach. And, everybody wants to give hugs and everybody's happy, So, yeah, I mean, that's what keeps me going, man. It's that right there. It keeps me going. But I do miss high school sometimes, though. I miss high school
Sometimes. Okay, I got you. So we're still talking about a little bit about coaching. So what parallels do you see between discipleship and coaching?
Not letting your ego get in the way, man. Being just surrender, like understanding that this is not the professional leagues. This is not college. We don't get to choose our players. You have to love them and coach them where they're at. And I can sit here till I'm blue in the face. I can tell a kid how to do it, show him how to do it, but he still won't do it. I'm just like, goodness gracious, you're overcooking my grits, coach. I'm Herman Boone out here, man. Remember the Titans. But I'm just like, man, just calm down. We want to win,
Right.
but at the same time, we got to make sure that character is being built.
Yeah.
We're being loyal to them and understanding that we're not just using them as a number. Oh, I'm just trying to win a game. We're trying to shape young men for the future. Better husbands. Fathers, that type of thing. And we have to start that this early because of where the generation is at. And it's sad because I'm just thinking, I'll tell my other coaches that, I was like, man, I don't ever remember having these type of conversations in middle school, or even high school, to be honest, because I never had a coach. I never had a position coach, point blank. And I think, well, if you know football, position coaches are pivotal. Like you have to have them because you don't want one coach trying to teach three different positions, And so it is very, very difficult. So being able to, like I said earlier, to get that relationship, right? To be able to say, you know what's going on at home, man? Anything I can help with? Like, how can I, serve you better, right? And to understand that, hey, man, coach, I got a million things going through my mind right now. Like my parents, my divorce, my mom, domestic, anything, lost a loved one. Bro, just my grades are bad. I'm getting bullied in school, or, just so my girlfriend. I mean, just everything, bro, that a teenager can go through, and me just putting myself back in that. I was like, man, like I had really nobody to talk to like that, My brother, so somewhat, but not on the level that you need to hear from somebody else. Like I say, it's always better when you hear it from someone else. So just like I said, just serving, man, and understanding that, hey, look, kid might not run fast, he might not jump high, might be strong, but as long as they continue to show up and you love them and they love you, they love what they're doing, they want to continue to show up every day and play for you and say, coach, look, man, I appreciate everything you're doing. That's when you're on the right path, you're doing the right thing.
No, that's good. I like as you said, put your ego out the way, and I think the biggest word you said was serve. If you're willing to serve and have a spirit of excellence and a spirit of hospitality and love, everything else, comes, together. I heard somebody say, if you just serve and you just love, the leadership part comes easy. You figure that part out. Everybody wants to be a leader. Everybody wants the title. Everybody wants to be the face, the front. But if you're not willing to serve your team, serve, the young men, serve humanity, then what are you doing? There's no point.
Right.
You're just in it for your ego. You're in it to puff yourself up, to, for your own pride and not really helping anybody. So I think that's just, a beautiful thing that you're like, hey, listen, whatever I got to do, I'm going to do it. And truly on the ground, boots on the ground to really be in the trenches with these young people that are dealing with so much, in this generation. Like you said, split homes, not having a good meal, a roof over their head, clothes. They truly just need love, and to show up in that way, I think it's pivotal and key that nobody else can ever give them other than, you who's willing to step in and be that pillar, be that foundation for them. And they'll remember that for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Memories will never fade, man. They will never, ever fade. And so I just see it now. Like I said, looking at the guys I'm coaching with, I'm just like, man, I remember y'all was in high school and here y'all are beside me and I'm the old guy. Not really, but I'm the OG, they're like, hey, coach, man, I want to be like you. And, I like how you handle this situation. I'm just like, man, it just comes with time, bro. It just comes with time and gratitude. And, you just got to continue to do the work, and understand that, hey, we need to win. Absolutely. But, you got to keep your locker room. You got to keep your team. And going through that when I was in high school sucked so bad because I'm just like, man, that class of 09, we could have been so special. But we didn't have relationship, and stuff that was out of our control, we couldn't control, but, just that brotherhood that we had, us as just being players and not having somebody else there, an older person, a coach to say, hey, look, I understand what y'all going through. I'm with you. And so, hey, look, this is how you have to navigate things.
Right.
So,
and I think relationship, that's the part. You got to have that relationship. You got to have that intimacy. You got to have that bond, that chemistry.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Trust.
Yep. I think that's the key thing. If you ain't got trust, you ain't got nothing, bro.
Nothing. Nothing.
And that's across the board anywhere. In any type of relationship, whether it's friendship, dating, marriage, mentor, mentee, job.
There you go.
It's trust.
Yep.
And I think if people understand that, I think this world would be a little bit better because we would consider ourselves, and that's even why, even like with Christ, he wants us to be found trustworthy, worthy of being trust and worthy of trusting others, And a lot of these people out here, you can't trust them with nothing.
You can't trust as far as you can see. That's about it, man.
That's about it. And, and it's really sad. And I think those are key things, even as a man, that, like you said early on, he's like, be a man of your word. If you're a man of your word, be a man of integrity. You're a man that can be trustworthy with anything, in the small thing, in the big thing, in the, the offsetting thing, whatever it may be. If you're trustworthy, you're able to be of value to serve other people.
Yep.
So you said that, you are in the teacher, you say you wanted to coach, but you're also a teacher as well. You say you never saw yourself being a teacher. So how did that come about, and what kept you there, and what motivates you to continue to teach 542 kids a week?
Bro, I don't know. Still to this day, man, I have no idea. But now let me stop. When I left middle school, and the kids, I tell the kids this, the kids really got me this job. They said, hey, man, you need to go up to the middle school and get Coach T. Like, he's really, really good. And this is kids who are in the 10th grade. The kid I coach with now, still call him a kid. The kid I coach with now, he was like, man, you need to go get Coach T. He know what he's talking about. He'll be good for the staff. And so they was like, sure. They was like, man, y'all want to leave Sand Lee to come to the high school suddenly? I was like, I guess, sure, why not? It's a different challenge. It's something else that I can, say I accomplished and, tackled. And they was like, oh, okay, cool deal. We like that you're here. You thought about teaching? I was like, excuse me? Hello? What'd you say?
He said, I beg your finest pardon.
Football. I beg your finest pardon. Like, what's going on? And they was like, yeah, man, come be a TA. A TA? What's that? It was like a teacher assistant. I was like, sure, why not? Got in there, and, then I became a TA. And so I was working with, the exceptional children. I would take them to job sites and things like that. And I was like, hey, man, I might can see myself maybe in a higher role. Wasn't sure. But like I said, I worked that TA role, self-contained, things like that nature, and did that for. I was a TA for 2 years. So what? 4 years I was a TA.
Mm.
Yeah, 4 years. I did 3 years at Southern, and then I did 1 year at the high school, Union Pines, another school, and then COVID and everything happened, and I was just like, yeah, I'm just chilling. I'm just here. And I hadn't coached. Well, yeah, COVID was my first year back in 2020. Yeah, 2020, 2021. That was my first time coaching since 15, 16.
Oh, wow.
So I had like 4 years off because, I went back to school and finished my degree up. And so I was just, relaxing, hanging out. And then my phone rings probably in June. No, it was May. It was May. Got the word they would open up a little school here in my city. It was like, hey, man, we open up the school. It's going to be for the kids that's kind of slipping through the cracks and some of the kids who kind of get overlooked. And I was just like, huh. She was like, I got a second grade spot open. I was like, second grade? I said, I ain't been no lower than middle school now. What's going on? I said, I don't know if I don't know about this. I told my mom, I called mom, I said, I think Miss Stella Farrow, I love you, Miss Stella. So I think she's bumped her head. She asked me to coach. Oh, she asked me to teach elementary school. I don't know if I got the patience. She was like, I'll just try it. So after me not saying, it was, like I said, it was May, June came, my birthday passed. I want to say I think it was the day before the 4th of July. I was like, okay, I'll try it. I called her back and we had a sit-down interview. I want to say that 17th, it was virtual, my fault. Yeah, it was virtual. It was still during COVID. It was virtual. And she was like, well, we think you'll be a great fit for the spot. She was like, you've always been, level-headed and, we always thought the world of you. You served in church. I practically seen you grow up, and singing in the choir. We were always, so soft-spoken but well-mannered. She was like, I think this would be good for you. And so, man, I started teaching second grade math. Like I said, it was COVID, so it was online, and we got back in person in October, and it took off. Like I said, I was teaching second grade. I was teaching math and science, and so that was it's crazy. It's crazy. I still can't believe I did it, but yeah, we did that, and then year 2 came, and I was back in the classrooms again, and then halfway through the year, they were like, "Hey, we're gonna get PE," and I transitioned to the PE role. I was like, okay, cool deal. I said, I think I can do this. This is, more of my ballpark, football, and trying to get the kids active and doing all that stuff. And like I said, shoot, man, before I know it, here it is. 4 or 5 years later, I'm still in the, PE role. Like I said, did K through 6, and then K through 7, and then came back to K through 5 last year and the year before. So. Just crazy circle, man. Just never in a million years I thought that I'll be, a teacher,
right?
In a classroom, because I didn't hate school, I didn't love school, but I liked school.
Yeah. Because
I played sports, and I was like, man, you know what? I gotta have good grades to play. Play 3 sports. Did track, basketball, and football in high school. But football was just different, man, because it just, it was just all about teamwork and leadership and just sacrificing for the person next to you. And like I said, teaching and football ended up becoming hand in hand. I was like, man, I can incorporate some of this stuff, even with the kids today in class, we got I can statements, positive affirmation, we're in a circle, they're stretching. I'm just like, hey, look, we got to stretch some limbs out, I'll getting older, And they're like, man, we don't want to stretch, coach, but, just teaching them, with also using, the core foundation that I, discovered way back in 1998, as a little boy, started to play football. But yeah, so that's how that teaching journey began, man.
Okay, no, that's dope. And like I said, we need you there. You know what I'm saying? They need, a young man that loves the Lord, a positive role model, trying to just, lead and be an example and pour into them even now, the life principles and experiences that you have. So, we need more of us in those spaces and places, because in a place that's dominated, not saying that anything's wrong with it, but we do need more men
Right.
in the K-12 sphere, and then more of black men specifically.
Absolutely.
In that spirit. We need representation, that they need to see us in those in those places and spaces to be able to help them navigate a place and space where they might not ever have that type of interaction of a black man teaching them the subjects, but then teaching them about life. And so I commend you, for being there and stepping into that role and that responsibility when nobody gave you that. You just okay, I'm here, and then this is where I see the gap. This is where I see the deficit, and I'm going to do what I can to fill that deficit to the best of my ability, and don't care what nobody think, don't care what nobody say. And we need more people. We need more men to do that, not just in the school system, but in their jobs, in their community, in the church, in the world. Yeah. If we see a deficit, we should be able, if we're gifted in that way, if God has called us that way, because not every deficit is ours, but the very pathway and journey he has us on, he's going to bring you to a deficit. He's going to bring you to a problem because you have the solution to figure it out. And so I'm always just blessed to hear how you've always figured it out and found a solution to help these young people navigate the circumstance, the situation of their life, to kind of help them grow into the people that God has called them to be.
Yeah, man. So it's a blessing. It's a blessing, man. Sometimes you go home with your head hurting and you just pounding the pavement because you're like, man, they're just not listening. They're not getting it. And you're going to have those days. And I never forget Miss Farrell saying that, man. I'm sitting up there, doing a math problem with a second grade. I was like, man, this stuff is crazy. I was like, this was not like this when we grew up. It was just like simple stuff, It was just like, hey, you're going to do regular vertical math, you know what I'm saying? And just, carry and add. And these kids, it was just like I was speaking Chinese, brother. It was like I was speaking foreign language. It was like I was giving out a sign experiment. I'm just like, look, number bonds. What is a number bond? I was like, man, if you don't line these numbers up, I was just like, whoop. Here it goes. You gotta learn how to meet these kids where they are. You gotta have you gotta show them a different way. Yeah, it was just like so mind-boggling, bro. Like how the times have changed, but just how we deliver the message has changed a little bit, right? Our parents, we love our parents dearly. Everything they did wasn't right, but they did what they knew best, right? And that's the same thing. I've told you this before. It feels like we standing in the middle. We the bridge. We holding up. We holding on to the old generation, and we're trying to bring the new generation up, bro. And it's just like we're slap dead in the middle, trying to make it all meet and all paint out to be 100%.
Yeah, listen, I don't know what a number bond is, and so listen, I done seen some examples of them doing long math, and I was like,
oh my God.
That's not how you do that. That's not how I would do that. Like Desi showed me one time how to do it. She did a math problem. I said, baby, I can't help you because I don't know how to, I can't explain it like that because I didn't learn it like that. And so when she be asking me, she'd be like, where you good at math? No, don't even come over here with that. Cause the way that they teaching you, I can't teach you. Yeah. I can't help you because it's totally different. I do my best. But at the same time, I'm like, nah. So I can only imagine being in the classroom when it's being taught, and you're like, huh? What is this? Bad. What is this?
They had me doing homework, bro. Like when I was teaching that second grade lesson, I was like, what? Why are you doing it like this? So like they would have videos, to show us of somebody teaching. I was like, okay. So I'm just like, I feel like a robot, you know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't able to, give them my layer. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to do both. I'm going to skin the cat. I'm going to show you, look, some of y'all parents my age, some of y'all parents look older. Hey, look, we know how it was done. As long as you get the right answer, I'm still teach y'all the steps.
Right.
But as long as you get the right answer, I'm content. As long as you know how to work it out.
Yeah.
As long as you know how to show me on paper what you're supposed to do and what you get, I'm fine with. But yeah, it's night and day different, man. I'm just like, this is too much.
Yeah.
Like, what we doing?
What are we doing? I don't know.
Yeah.
And so like, even just thinking about you being in the classroom and like how it's totally different now than when, we were in there. And so now that you're on the other side as a teacher, And also as a man of faith, as you know, as a disciple of Jesus, how do you integrate faith, character, and leadership into the teaching, especially in, being in a public school setting? How do you integrate that to be able to kind of stand firm in who you are and what you believe, at the same time being able to teach this next generation, as you're able even to coach this next generation?
Love, man. Like, it's so hard. It's such a gray area, not for us as believers, but just trying to be politically correct and making sure you don't step on any toes. But my classroom is their classroom. I tell them all the time, I say, look, this is your space. Take care of it too. And just having that open door policy, just saying, hey, look, I know sometimes I only get to see y'all once a week, but I always tell them I love them. If anything is ever on your mind or your heart, you're going through something, let me know. Even if that, because it's funny I'm saying that, but kindergarten through fifth, man, like they be going through.
That's
and sometimes
crazy.
they just want to get it out. I'm
That's
just like,
crazy.
hey, look, here's the space to do it. But yeah, man, just love, man, because that point of time, they're just, especially fifth grade, they're going through that transition where they're getting ready to go to middle school. And so I'm just constantly on them 24/7. They can tell you, like, they'll be like, coach is always on my neck. He won't let me breathe. I'm just like, because the world's not going to let you breathe. The world don't care.
Yeah.
So just coming out of a place of love and making sure we're doing things the right way. We got in our wall in the gym, says integrity, doing the right thing when no one's looking. So just trying to give them solid foundation from the start. Respect, integrity, responsibility, and just love.
Yeah.
Integrating all that together by my actions, how they come to my class, how I lay down the rules. Hey, look, guys, you already know the rules. You got to, there go a problem. Go look at the door over there. I got all the rules and consequences up. Like, we're going to treat each other with respect. We ain't going to talk down. Because it get real competitive in gym, man. Because, like, them little babies, they hate to lose now. They tough. They go in the corner, they'll cry, they'll shut down and say, look, I ain't doing it today, coach. I refuse. Now I look at them as like, oh, that's what we doing? That's what we doing? And so it's love, man. Like, I don't want to call them soft. I want to say they're babied and they're misinformed just a little bit. They're tender, but they just need to be shown the right way. That's all. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, I'm just like, man, this message sometimes I'm giving to them, I'm like, are they going to remember this? Because I'm like, man, I had a hard time remembering anything when I was in elementary school. But then I think about it, I'm like, the reason why I ain't remember, we have a relationship. Had no relationship.
That's true.
It was just like, hey, come to the gym, make sure you wear tennis shoes, climb this rope, touch the top of the backboard, do a pull-up, go run a mile run. That's it.
That's true.
And I'm just like, man, a kid's being measured by a test score, or a mile run, a push-up. Yes, we still have a standard.
Yeah.
We still have a standard. Don't get me wrong. But that's not the be-all, end-all. I want you to know I care about you. I love you. I want you to do well. And I'll be asking the teachers, man, like I'm their parents, hey, how's such and such in class? How they doing in your class? Because, like, fifth grade, we have a county track meet. And it's in April. And I've been telling them ever since last year, they was in the fourth grade. I say, look, y'all going to be in the fifth grade next year, this, that. If you want to go on these field trips, you got to make sure not only your grades are right, but you're showing your teacher respect. You turn in your homework. You're doing everything you're supposed to do. And I went to the principal and say, look, I want to incorporate this. I'm not taking everybody. That's impossible.
Yeah.
I took 30 last year. I was like, look, this is the number. Hey, if they meet it or if they go beneath it, it is what it is. But just setting a standard, man, a blueprint of expectations to say, hey, look, man, if I want to achieve anything in life, I got to make sure I'm doing the right things, put myself in the right position to make a play, to develop, to get to the next level in academics, in anything, man, sport. So just creating that competitive, loving environment from a young age. So.
No, that's dope. That, that you even have the patience and the mindset to do that, to deal with that at the same time and figure out how to integrate your faith, your character, and leadership. Yeah. And you do it well and you pour out. And like you said, I think you said it so well, like, you want a relationship with these kids, and most teachers, most coaches don't do that, in order to instill what's necessary. But at the main time, if they never listen to a word you say, they know that Coach T loves them. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because you show that through your example. You show that through your words. You show that how you show up for them and they show up for you. And I think that's just a powerful thing that, you know, this generation of kids have at your school, that they have somebody there that they know for a fact. If my mama don't love me, if my daddy mistreat me, if my auntie, grandma, whoever it may be, I come to this school, Coach T is going to love me and help me be the best version of myself every single day I show up. And I think that's powerful.
Yes, indeed.
I think that's powerful. So kind of shifting just a little bit. So, you know, I know that, you know, we're on the holistic man. And so I want to talk a little bit about just, you know, holistic health and growth. And so how do you care for your mental, your emotional, and physical health while you're leading and serving so many others?
Bro, the gym, man. You know, it's my outlet. Like, I have to get up. I was telling my coworker last week, me and her were talking, and we could just sense it. And she looked at me and she said, "How you feeling today?" I was like, not too hot. She was like, "What's going on?" I said, "I didn't go to the gym this morning." She said, "Me either." I said, "Yeah, I have to go. If I don't go and I just come in, the energy's off. I feel just, everything just feels bad, man, like just off, you know." I'm not saying I just strictly rely on the gym. And we know God's there. He's there, you know, every day, 24/7. But the gym for me, man, I have to go. I have to get it out at least 3 to 5 times a week to put myself in a mindset, get up early, you know, get my devotion, get myself in the mindset of, hey, look, man, somebody needs you today. You know, as many times I be sick and tired. You know how we talk. We tired, bro. It's like, man, not today. And it's just like, how can I get through this, Lord? And, you know, getting his word and then getting my Fiji, you know, shout out to Fiji, and then hitting that gym, you know, getting out there to Plant Fitness, you know what I'm saying? And getting that good old, that lift in, man, and just starting the day off. I believe that you truly got to start your day off mentally first. Because if you don't, no matter how you feel, that brain, the mind goes as the body goes and vice versa.
Yeah.
So if you develop that callus to the brain where it's just like, I'm in a routine, this is what I have to do, this is what I'm doing constantly, it becomes easier. You know, yes, we all have our not so good days. I try not to say bad days because every day is a day because we got, you know, air in our lungs. But yeah, the gym, man, it's always setting myself up for success because I know that the babies are dependent on me. And somebody got PE today. And they're just excited. They're ready to come see Coach. They might not have seen me since last week because, hey, we might have 4-day week or out for holidays. And it's like, Coach, we ain't seen you in like 2 weeks. So, you know, it's just like me just trying to make sure that I'm mentally sharp. I'm mentally there with God, feeding myself with the word. And like I said, just going out and just getting exercise, man, and just trying to push all the negativity down at the feet and just keep going, bro. Just keep going. Because teacher fatigue is tired. Life fatigue is tired. You know, so it's a lot. But that's probably, well, I'm for sure that's the main 2 things, bro. Like, I feel like my day is not complete and I'm off if I don't do that routine. I could be on vacation and don't go to the gym or don't get up in on time where I'm up at 4:45 or 5 o'clock doing a devotion. And I get to end of my break. I don't want to go back to work, but I'm just like, bro, like I really miss work because it established me as putting myself in that. Oh, here it is, T by T. I'm there. And so it's just like coaching. Like, you got a game plan, you know, step 1, you know, step 4, you know, I'm building on this play to get to the end result. So it's the same in life. You got to you have to have a routine, a healthy routine to keep yourself sane and going and fresh and energized for these babies.
Yeah. So. No, I think that's dope, you know, and I think most people think that it's always going to be motivation. No, it's discipline.
Yeah.
You know, I tell even my students, like, hey, motivation is cool. It's nice. It's fun. It's colorful. You feel the energy. You feel the excitement, but motivation wanes off, you know. But if you're disciplined, like you said, to that routine, knowing that I got to get up 4:45, 5 o'clock to read my word, devotion, to get to the gym 3 to 4 times a week, you know, making sure that, you know, I'm eating right, you know, just to make sure that my body's fueled because there's somebody that needs me today, you know. And I think many of us run from that, not understanding that there are moments that God ordains because of our routine, because of our discipline of spending time with him, so that one, he pours into us so that we can pour out to someone else. And we never know what we're going to face as men. Who needs our leadership? Who needs our smile? Who needs an encouraging word? Who needs correction? Who needs a hug? Whatever it may be, he wants to use us in that way. And like to know that you use that to kind of help make sure that you're always, top of the line, ready to go. The gym, your devotion, those routines, like those are non-negotiable. I think we as men need to establish more of that so that, we're ready to tackle whatever it may be that comes our way throughout our day.
Yeah, man. Got to have a foundation. Got to have a foundation.
You got to, man, because it's so key. I'm with you. Like I find myself when I don't do my Devo, or my prayer time, the day is crazy. The day is already gonna be crazy. Like if y'all would look at my calendar, you'd be like, "What's going on?" You know what I'm saying? You didn't know the stories where I had 10 to 15 meetings in one day, and he was like, "What, bro?" You know what I'm saying? And like
Red Bull, what? Fussing you out? Get off that Red Bull.
I had two of them. I was drinking back to back. I was up to like 2:00 in the morning after that. You know what I'm saying? Because I was about to crash because I have no energy. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like those are those key things that keep us going, so that we can be holistic, that we can be healed, we can be able to deal with everything that comes our way.
Yep.
And so I want to ask you 2 more questions, and then I'm gonna let you go. So when you think about the next generation of young men, what kind of legacy do you hope to leave as a coach, an educator, and a man of God?
A coach that was authentic, transparent. He led with love. His passion was unmatched. His heart for people was undeniable. A good coach can change a game, but a great coach can change a life. And just knowing that I was there, man, I was present, and I care like no other, and I had so much passion for what I do and what I believe in, and just to be better than I was, right? And even the kids I coach today and the kids I coached in the past, I've always looked at them as like little brothers that I never had, right? Or, the kids that I don't currently have. It's just like, man, I want to give y'all everything I never had. And sometimes I'm a little jealous and a little hurt because I didn't have that. I'm just like, man, if I had a carbon copy of myself, God, I can't believe I'm saying this. 15 years ago, 15 to 17 years ago, I will be sitting somewhere in the National Football League. I'll be getting ready to retire. Put it that way. I'll be getting ready to retire here soon. But, it's just that type of stuff, man, like being the biggest cheerleader, understanding that I want to see you guys win, man, and I'm your biggest fan. Because every time, I've told everybody, if I coached you once, I've coached you forever, and I want what's best for you. And just love, man. I want them to know that, hey, he was genuine, he was transparent, and he ain't never tell me no lie. He never told, he was just straight up. Just honesty and always open, and somebody who was always there for me if I needed. No,
that's dope. Yeah. And you're going to do it, though. Like, I know the career path, you want to be at the collegiate level. I'm still waiting for my skybox tickets,
Hey, man.
We go get there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's coming, and so I know that that's your pathway. I know that's your passion. And as you're even just continue to build upon that, God is going to bless you, and he's going to open the necessary doors, for you to get there. So last question. What does it mean to be a holistic man? What does the phrase, the holistic man, mean to you?
Oh, man, that's a good one. Being an open book. Being able to peel back or open the closet and reveal your skeleton, right? To reveal your struggle, your weakness, what you're not proud of, what you are proud of, what keeps you going, just life, what your why. They always ask us teachers what our why is, So that being able to say, look, man, I'm not perfect by any means, but I strive every single day because the life that Christ has blessed me with, a lot of people don't get that, right? They don't get that call. It might be too late, or someone's struggling right now to find their way. And you can be that pillar, that bridge to get them there, that branch, the olive branch, And so, man, just being an open man or just being honest, and not being afraid to tell people, hey, look, I deal with that too. I go through that too. I have doubts. I have, worries, just open book transparency and serve and love and meet people where they are at. Big time.
No, that's it. Love, being open book. Yes, sir. Well, thank you, sir, so much for taking the time out just to share your life, your legacy, and a little tidbits of who you are with us today. You dropped some key nuggets and just some wisdom, and I know people will be blessed by what they hear today. And I want you to continue to strive, continue to keep moving forward. And, like I said, one day I'm going to be in that skybox. And you could be you could be coaching that national football game, And
amen.
And I said it here, and I've been saying it. You didn't say it, I didn't say it, and now we got it captured here. That's gonna happen. I ain't been no false prophet yet.
Not once. Hey man, Auburn, man, give me a call, man. LSU, man, holler at your boy,
hey,
man.
Dabo.
Hey man.
Dabo.
Hey man. I be a sister, Dabo. I love you, man. I love the coach for you and with you, man. But come on, man. Get it together, man. 3-5, brother. 3-5. Got me over here struggling. Got me over here saying prayers like God dictates football games. Come on, man. Get it together, man.
Get it together. Call my man. He'll be there to help you. He'll be an asset. Yes, sir.
I won a 21, man. Going to UVA 1, man. Go holler at the Cavaliers.
Come on through, bro. Listen. Don't make me email. Don't make me email him.
Hey, man. Hey, man. Do your thing. Put a word in.
Hey, listen.
Tony Elliott. He a Clemson guy. We cool with that.
Oh, yeah. He doing his thing this year.
Yes, sir.
He to turn it around just a little bit.
I love it.
Number 12 now of the nation, I think?
They climbing up. Yeah, I think, I got to look at the polls. They came out tonight for the playoffs. So, tonight's the first night of the college football ranking. So, everybody see where they fall at. Not have to worry about the AP poll no more. So, it's more the college poll. So,
gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Dope. Yeah. Well, all right, brother. Well, I love you, man.
I love you too, bro.
Yeah. Thanks for being on the pod.
Absolutely. No problem.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. My brother, Coach T, dropping nuggets. Listen, y'all, he is doing a phenomenal work down in Sanford, North Carolina. Well, I hope that you've loved this episode and enjoyed it. And I want you to make sure that you continue to rock with us. Please make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow us on all the socials. Make sure that you're following us. We're on Spotify. We're on the Apple Podcast. We're on Podbean. Listen, we got everything for you. We're trying to make sure that the men know that while they lead ordinary lives, they have extraordinary gifts. And my man, Coach T, he dropped it tonight. He's leading an extraordinary life, leading the next generation through his life, through his testimony, through leadership, and making sure that they know that they are loved, valued, and appreciated. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you on the next one. Until then, stay holistic. God bless.
Guide my steps with a gentle hand. God make me a holistic man.